Welcome back to KentuckySports.co radio show, where we're not fair, we're balanced. We got a few things we're going to get into. One of them being a little controversy Tyler here and I have had recently, where he was upset that Pitino had complained about the Ouija board tactics used by the Big East to pick the teams that they had to play twice. What do you think of that, Tyler?
Well, I'd be very, very scared of playing Cincinnati again as well. I mean, that's what I understand where he's coming from of having to play Cincinnati again on the road. And, yeah, the scheduling, how it's set up, playing two of the top three projected preseason ranked teams. You know how the projections are. I just thought it was funny that he was complaining about that. He was scared of Syracuse, who he absolutely owns at night in, night out. It doesn't matter where they play. And it's Cincinnati. Who do they have? Bornred is gone. They have nobody. They have Mick Cronin. I don't know.
It's a rivalry game. I don't think he's so much scared of Cincinnati.
Yeah, right.
I think that he was acknowledging that they got a tough draw.
I think he was complaining.
He was without a doubt complaining. I won't say that he wasn't complaining. My only point back to you was, I think I said something to the extent of, do you think Cal complains as much as Pitino? And do you, Tyler?
I do.
You think Cal does?
No, I think they both complain.
Okay, good. Because I was
ready
to lose my head.
But I think Pitino's complaints are ridiculous. It's more off the line of that's total BS. He just lies out of his ass. I don't know. The way he puts his quotes, I guess, maybe it's not really a complaining standpoint, more the line of he's just lying. He's done it his whole life. And I don't know, Calipari, where do you stand on Calipari on this? Come on, hit me.
I think he's very whiny.
Why?
Way before he ever came to Kentucky, I would have described Calipari as a very talented recruiter and motivator. I'm sorry?
No, go.
I was a big Cal fan. Is that what you're going to say?
No, I was actually going to ask you, so you're a big-time UMass follower back in the day, right? I understand.
I did. I saw UMass play against Louisville in Freedom Hall when Camby was there.
Yeah, but you were box scoring it out and all.
I hate your guts, Tyler.
Hey.
No, I don't hate you. But I would have described Cal as being someone who just seemed like a whiny little kid who just had something stolen from him.
I think you're banking all of this on your one experience with him and John Chaney complaining on video on ESPN.
What about where Cal was complaining to the New Jersey when he was the coach of the Nets, where he was complaining in 97 to the reporters about the horrible way that the New York media has portrayed the Nets when they were 26. They'd won 26 games that year. They were having a horrible season. They were getting railed in the New York media, the biggest media market in the country, in the world. He was complaining about that. Then one guy said something to him, and he goes, "You shut up. You're a, I'm not even going to say it, Mexican idiot." I mean, there is so much documented complaining from Cal that I don't even.
So you're talking NBA quotes from Calipari, right?
Yep, 97.
Now, if I'm correct, I know I'm not going to say it dead on, but when Rick Pitino and the Boston team went god-awful, I don't even want to say their record, he was asked a question about what can be done. He reverted. It wasn't anything to do with his job. It was the players haven't been listening, They got to work harder, and if one or two shots went this way, we would be on the other side of the realm. He's just totally lying.
The infamous Larry Bird and Kevin McHale aren't walking through that door.
He complains, and I won't really give either of them too much hell for sticking up for their team, and they're doing their job. They're two of a kind. I was comparing them in the break to. Did you ever hear Tubby Smith do that?
No.
I didn't. He didn't have that fire. That's what it is. It's fire, and I don't care what anybody thinks of me. I'm going to sound like a whiny little kid for the sake of my bettering my team. They both possess it. So I don't want to hear Kentucky fans ripping on Pitino just because they've been hearing it ever since he's been at Louisville. He's been doing it forever, and Cal certainly does it.
I'm not making fun of Louisville. I'm just saying Rick Pitino is a crybaby. Every press conference, there's something. It never fails. You've heard it, and you can't deny it. Can you? There's something every press conference that comes out.
Yeah, there is.
Everyone. Okay.
Same goes for Cal. Whether it be, man, this isn't fair about Enos Cantor. I
It
think I'm gonna sue the NCAA. Why wasn't it fair?
Well,
he got paid. Why wasn't it fair?
Well, okay, why is he complaining about?
He was complaining.
He's trying to help one of his players get on the court. Why is he complaining? He's just telling his thought of NCAA of why he thought it was unfair. Why is that complaining?
I don't know. I didn't determine what the definition of complaining was, but that's complaining.
Okay.
This argument brought to you by fanfist.com.
Pitino does it.
All the time. More than Calipari. And I'll say right here, right now, he complains more than Calipari.
Ask any UK fan, and you're right.
They'll totally
Just because you're louder doesn't mean that you're have any more ration. You ask the rest of the country anything about Cal.
That's not
is
irrelevant.
He a slime ball?
That's the dumbest. You can't ask the country. The country hates Kentucky. The country hates Calipari. That's not. You can't do that.
That's just buying into the whole mentality of poor little me. It went on with him at Memphis.
Who's
poor little me? Poor little Conference USA. I can't get the respect I deserve.
Why do you keep bringing
Everybody's
up the
out
Conference
to
USA?
get me?
He's not in that Conference USA now. He's not doing the poor little me now.
I'm just pointing out how the two forces of Cal and the UK fan base combining has just exploded into everybody's out to get me, ultra paranoia, like some dude running around in
have
a
you
forest
seen
on acid.
NCAA try to revoke wins back from any other school? Come on. That's the dumbest thing ever. They're going after the man. They're going after university. Do they go after UConn, his vacated wins? Do they go after Florida's vacated wins? Do they go after all these vacated wins? No, they go after Kentucky's. And they get mad because they celebrated a 5-minute celebration.
There is not consistency in the way that they do the 500 wins thing. I'll give you that.
Okay.
Can't argue that.
Well,
however,
boom.
If you get in trouble, if I get a DUI for having 2 beers,
yeah,
and there's another guy that I know, for example, who had 10 beers and got pulled over and didn't get a DUI. That's not fair. Do you want to hear me complain about it all day, every day? No, I don't think you do. Quit complaining. Except that you broke the rules and move on.
DUI. That is not relevant. This is relevant sports. Sports are relevant. Nobody cares about the DUI on your friend's DUI. Nobody wants to talk about that. Everyone wants to talk about the complaining of both our coaches, but how Rick Pitino complains more.
And you have no factual documentation to back that up, but that's okay.
I mean, I'm actually right here, and I got a 5-page list of Rick Pitino quotes. It just goes on and on and on.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Let's hear some.
No, I don't want to. I'd have to.
You want me to go into
good
some
ones? No, there's good ones on here. I'd have to weed in the good ones and the bad ones. I'd have to find them.
If I would have to judge the argument, I would have to say that if it would come off that Calipari would be a little whinier to where Pitino is just outlandish. But Pitino is overdone, the Big East, the depth and the strength of the Big East. We know it is what it is. Kind of let that one go. That's the only thing I have a problem with. If Charles Barkley made him eat his words on CBS. Everybody saw it. That annoys everybody. It's like we know that this is the reason that it is. I always feel like with Pitino, he's always trying to live up to what he did at Kentucky, and he's always trying to justify why he didn't do something at Louisville. Not really making excuses, but more justifications of the reason that things are the way they are. But with Calipari, he knows he's not status quo. So he's going to try to bring people to your side by pointing out inconsistencies and hypocrisies with the NCAA. So I think that's why he comes off as possibly a little whinier.
Here you go, Kelly. When Pitino leaves Louisville with no national championships, what are you going to think about that? Like, what will he say in his press conference? What will his excuse be? It was a great run. I had, great players. It was just a great overall experience.
I think you'd have to look to Cal's mentor, Larry Brown, how he says, every time I leave a job, it's in a better situation than when I took the job, and I'm confident Louisville will be in a much better situation when Pitino leaves than when he took the job, regardless of whether he wins the title.
Why?
Let's think here. They were in dumpy little Conference USA.
Okay, but you
playing
can't
in
judge what
Freedom Hall.
conference they were in. That's just a whole other aspect of college is getting bigger. Conference is getting more, more money. You're going to get out of that conference. That has nothing to do with it. U of L was in a decent place, with Denny Crum. Yeah, towards the end, it was. I mean, he was getting old, so shit happens.
They were not in a good place compared to where they are now.
This conversation could go for a long time.
It could.
One thing I have to state though, that Pitino has done that many other programs have struggled with is Pitino, he's a legend in himself in this state, but he also replaced the legend.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at any other major job, there is a step down when you replace a legend. Like, Tubby was a great coach. You know, he won the '98 national championship, but
And we replaced him with
there was
Billy.
there was a dry period though with him following Pitino, following the legend. Look at what's happened to Indiana. They're still trying to replace Bobby Knight. UCLA, you know, coach that followed Wooden. You know, you hit a downslide after that, and Pitino, for the most part, really hadn't done that in following the legend in Denny Crum.
He's had a couple NIT appearances by the standards that he had when he came in.
Just one, right?
Two in 3 years. They lost to South Carolina, I believe, both years.
He has not done as well as as all of us would have liked in the tournament. The overall excitement surrounding the program and the
One Big East championship in 10 seasons.
No, they've been in the Big East since 2006.
Okay. One Big East championship in five seasons.
4 seasons.
That was with T. Will, the best team they had, went to the Final Four, right?
Not a shabby conference though. One's not that bad out of
No,
four
I'm not.
seasons.
It's not bad.
Not bad at all. So I mean,
You can feel the hostility, you know, in the realm of things, and it's good for both programs. They know they feed off each other. They know this. You know, I do think, and I sense this in Tyler. As a person, you know, I really, you know, I don't have too much invested, but there's a sense of anxiousness because I think Kentucky fans know this Louisville team is going to be very, very good.
Oh, I agree.
And Kentucky, it would just be very interesting if Louisville won the national title this year. And I think they're very.
That was no possible chance in hell in happening.
What?
Boom! I'm saying it right now. It will not happen. They won't do it. If they have a chance, they're a good team. I know they're a good team. I'm not saying anything about that. They will go, you know, they won't lose to Morehead State in the first round this year. Congrats. They're a good team. They will not win the national championship. And, God, I hope this is recorded. You can play it back in March. They will not win the national championship.
I could say that about Ohio State or UNC.
And Louisville.
or
Ohio
Kentucky.
State. They're better than Louisville. They got the most dominant postman in the nation next year.
They're projected to be better than Louisville with good reason. I'm saying the NCAA is, I mean, Kentucky was close to being knocked out by Providence.
Close is the key word, my friend.
Well, you guys
not
be
not
consistent.
56-55 final. Close is the key word.
Be consistent, though. You're taking
We are.
the same
We won.
stance.
They won.
I've heard
It's a tournament. It's a tournament. What do you want them to do? Blow every team out by 20? What do you want? I mean, I guess consistent isn't beating Ohio State, the best team in the country year in all season long, and then going in and beating North Carolina, who is possibly the hottest team in the country, in March, in April. That's pretty consistent.
You don't know what I meant by consistent, then, because I wasn't finished.
Well,
what
I didn't want to listen.
Apparently. What I meant was I've heard Kentucky fans say, well, if they would have just beat UConn, they would have won the national championship. Well, if we would apply the same logic you just applied to the whole.
I didn't say that.
Okay, well.
I said it.
Did you, Matt?
After a glass of early times, though, Tyler has the best representation of Kentucky fans that I've heard. That I've heard. The cutoff. I don't care what you said.
I didn't want to hear it.
I think, yeah. I'm thinking what I think, and that's what it is.
If Kentucky fans don't like me, I don't know what your problem is.
Yeah.
I love the Cats.
Kentucky fans love you.
They
Kentucky
better.
fans love
I
you.
know I had hate earlier in the year, but gosh, they're coming back.
We're going to have to cut to another quick commercial break here. Right when we come back, we're going to jump into the whole recruiting and how the coaches are able to watch the players without actually being able to talk to them. And we're going to jump into that, among that, a couple other recruiting topics. But stay tuned. We'll be right back.